Hello and welcome everyone. So I'll be trying to explain this problem known as elemental decompress. Um, yeah, Elemental decompress. As you can see in this problem, you're given an array A of n integers, and you're gonna have to find out two permutations. So the condition is that you have to generate these two permutations, but there's a condition is that each and every index of those permutations should fulfill a constraint in order to generate those two permutations. So ultimately, the output answer is going to be either yes or either no. If you are not able to generate those two permutations that would fulfill the constraint, the answer would be no. And if you are, then the answer would be yes. And also, you're going to have to output those two permutations. And the question is, what is the constraint? The constraint is that the maximum of of every particular index of those two permutations should permutational particular index value should be equal to the given array's particular every index value. So that's exactly what it means. It would be more evident if we just take a look at this example. Uh, as you can see, okay, one of the test cases is like that. So you're given an array A, which consisting values are 5, 3, 4, 2, 5. Now, you have to generate two permutations such that uh, out- the maximum of every index of those two permutational index value would be equal to the given array's particular index value. As you can see, yes, we have an array A and we also do have array B and C, but we haven't fully, um, filled those gaps. And but there's a particular way that we could solve this problem. But now, for example, in order to understand what the answer could be, now for this particular example, the answer is yes. Okay, it is possible to generate to generate a possible answer from here. And as you can see, if I give one here, and if I just output 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you would see that both of these arrays are actually fulfilling the constraint that's going to make the array A. Each and every index, if you just take a look at it, if you take the maximum value, you would definitely get an array A's particular value. As you can see, the first index, if you take the maximum out of 5 and 1, it's going to give 5. And accordingly, out of 3 and 2, if you take the maximum, it's going to give 3, and it's going to give 4 and 2, and blah, blah, blah. Just like that. And for it, like this is like the underlying structure, how the answer is going to get generated. Now, the main uh, now how are we going to solve this problem? If you take a look at, for like simplifyingly, try to understand what I try to do here is that if any value comes more than once, if the frequency of any value comes more than once, I would know that as I have to generate two permutations, and permutations would always consist of distinct integers. So if any double values come, I will just switch the permutation array. So switch the permutational index. What I mean by is that, as you can see, I will traverse the given array. As you can see, 5. So far, I have reached till 5. 5 has only occurred once. So I will generate my permutations. Let's say I chose array B and I put 5 here. After that, we have 3. 3 comes first, comes for the first time, so I will generate it inside B2. So it does not matter from which permutation I'm taking the maximum. What matters the most is that you perfectly put the right values in the right index. The ordering does not matter. So I'm just particularly choosing every distinct values that comes to array A, and I'm putting those values inside B. So as you can see, till now I've got 3, and then I've got 4. 4 comes first. Till now 4 comes only the first time, so yes, definitely putting that value to B, and then 2. But now we've got 5, and 5, the frequency of 5 is like more than 1. So I'm sure that it's not going to be part of the B array, so it's going to be transferred to array C. And so, and like this way, I will generate a sort of two permutations having some gaps in between them, and some gaps are also filled with particular values that I've chosen from the initial given array, just like that. And so here we have some gap values, then gap portions that we need to fulfill, and the way we can actually uh, fully fill those values is, if you just think about it for a second, you would notice that for the value for the array B, if I just give a pivot value, if I just consider B array as my pivot array, and I will always consider the values that I have generated from array A, they will always be my maximum. If I think about it like that, from that perspective, then I will say that, okay, I need a minimum value corresponding to that index. So corresponding to 5, if I want to generate 5 in the array A, then of course on the other half of the permutations, I need a smaller value than 5. And what better way to do that than to put the smallest possible values, to generate those values in such a way that it actually so we have to like generate the values, the gap values in an optimized way. And the most efficient way would be to sort to sort all of the values that are yet to be filled. As you can see, inside the permutation B, we've got 1 values to fill, and we know what that value is. That is 1. And for the permutation C, we know how many values are yet to be filled. They are 1, 3, 2, and 4. Now the most efficient way to fill these gaps would be to compare with the values that are given in the B and in the C. What I mean by is that, as you can see, inside the array B, we have values of 5, 3, 4, 2 that are already filled. Now, if you just sort this given values, you would get something like that: 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and 2, 3, 4, 5, and accordingly, if you just set those values that are not being filled in the array C, you would get something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. So all the generated values and all the values that are yet to be filled are always going to be sorted. And the reason is, if we do not sort it, we're not going to get an optimal solution here. For some test cases, it might not give us a plausible solution. And that's why the bottom line is, the values that are yet to be filled will be sorted. The values that are already filled for each and every array, for both of these permutations, are also going to be sorted. And then you're going to put the values that are yet to be filled accordingly And also you need to worry about the index here too, because values are not going to be, generated increasing or decreasing fashion. It's going to be arbitrarily in different positions. So the index position does matter here, and that's how you're gonna solve this problem. So if I apply the techniques that I said, first I'm gonna try to find out what the values are yet to be filled. Here yet to be filled is 1, and for the next permutation I have yet to be filled is 1, 3, 2, 4. And if I compare with 5, 3, 4, 2, as you can see, instead of write down write down the mirror part of 5, I will put 4, because I know that when you sort 2, 4, 3, 5 with 1, 3, 2, 4, you would get something like that. And you have to set these values accordingly so that you get the optimal result here. 5 containing with 4, and the 3 would also be, and 3 would also be going with, okay, there you go. 1 comes here because, as you know, there are only 1 values left, and also here 3, here comes 2, and the mirror part of 4 would be 3, and mirror part of 2 would be 1. And I'm telling it again, the way that I'm figuring this values is by sorting the generated and the non-generated values for both of these permutations, and then sort all of them to get the maximum result, to get the optimal result, just like that. But you need to care about the index that the particular index that that particular value is at. So yeah, if I take a look at the code section, you would see that it is more of a implementational problem. And here, the first section, I'm just decomposing the whole filled and non-filled part using using an array, which is working as a flag version, and this like no part is that if any value occurs more than two times, I'll be sure that there won't be any sort of answer. But if there is a possibility that we can get some answer, we will try to gather. Here this part is trying to gather the values that are not here, that have not been filled yet, this part. And this part is generating the values that are already filled with the index, pairing with the vector, because it is needed in order to track down the exact index that we need to put those gapped values. And these 4 sort functions are doing the sorted part that I talked about. And finally, yeah, this part here, assigning the gapped the void value with with the particular index that we actually took as a pair here, using the vector. And so finally we're gonna give a final check whether, after fully filling the 2 permutations, whether the condition still exists. If it still does not exist, if it still does not fully fill the constraint, then I'll just output no. Otherwise it would be yes, and also printing the 2 permutations. And that was the whole solution.